do be ambitious about it. Do believe, like you said, about the 3-day week. Is that possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it easy? No, it bloody isn't.
Hey everybody, it's John Lamberton here alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We are here for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast, where as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without just working harder. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. Once again, we are here with another 1%er finding out how they have designed their business to deliver the lifestyle that they want. Now, before we go in, once again, we've got an ask of you, dear listener. Last month, we asked you to leave a review for the show. This month, we're asking again. We're like a routine machine here. Jace, I think the last time we asked was 2017. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's like buses, isn't it?
I think we talked last month and we said, how many reviews have we got? I think we said about 5. I actually went and had a look. We've actually got about 25. 24 of which were from 2017 when we first launched this podcast. So nearly 7 years ago, we got a ton of reviews. And then I think we might have been asking for reviews at the start. We haven't for a while. So as the little lesson for you from last month, ask and ye shall receive. Please, 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 if you listen to this podcast, if you get value from it, if today's episode is the best podcast you've ever heard, no pressure, Nikki, then please do leave us a nice review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just leave us some stars or again, answer that ambitious lifestyle business question, which is Jason.
What is Jason?
The ambitious lifestyle business question.
Oh yes,
when you always ask, it's your catchphrase almost.
What is Jason? It's like this sounds like a conversation we've had before.
We're not playing Jeopardy.
What is an ambitious lifestyle business? What does it mean to you?
There we go. Thank you very much. Right, okay, pitch over. I promise. On to the good stuff now. Today's guest is Nikki Thomas. Nikki is the founder of the Growth Community, a networking group that promises real community business networking with relaxed, purposeful networking and no membership sales pitches. Best of all, it starts at the most reasonable time of 10 a.m., not 6:30 a.m., like some unnamed networking groups. The Growth Community grew by 75% in the last year, which, dear listener, you may think is a fantastic thing, and we'd all love 75% growth in our business, but we shall find out today whether that was a good thing or not. Nikki, welcome to the ALB podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Fantastic. So I want to start with that throwaway line that I said at the beginning. The Growth Community is a real community business networking group. What does that word mean, real community?
Well, I think when I started out with this, I'd been running networking groups since 2017, and when I sat down with this, I had some rather unfortunate stuff happen just before the pandemic, which kind of left me in a very difficult situation, unable to run my business as it was. So I had to start from scratch in the pandemic, and I think having that lockdown period really gave me the time to think hard about what I wanted to do. I didn't want this to just be another networking group. I wanted it to be a community, and yes, we do have groups, but for me, it was about not just sticking a load of people in a room, selling them memberships and seeing how it went. For me, it was about putting people who share a value system together. And it was really clear from the beginning what the value system was. And it was really clear what the vision was. And the value system is very much based around my own personal values. So I think reliability and integrity is absolutely essential. For me, we bound around this equation of know, like, trust all the time. Everyone's always talking about it, but nobody really thinks about what know, like, trust is, and nobody really thinks about what trust actually is. And for me, trust is an equation. It is credibility plus reliability equals trustworthiness. And so I wanted to create a place where there were people who got that, who understood that they needed to be growth minded, they need to be ambitious, They need to want to grow, but they need to want to help other people to grow. So there's very much that support network. There's that that team of people who are all on the same page, who all have bought into that vision and those values, who share that value system. When they are properly motivated and they are properly inducted into a community, then what you've got is a group of people who genuinely want to do the same as everybody else, and that means that you can feel supported, and you make friends, and friendship naturally wants to help each other. So for me, community is a place where you put people who genuinely believe the same things as each other in a room together and see what happens. And actually what does happen is incredible, because what you haven't got is these people who really, they're there for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Or they don't share the same value system, and that's very difficult. It's very hard to work with people who don't share your value system. So if you just stick random people in a room, what you get is a process, and you don't get the depth to it, and so therefore you don't get that sense of community of people who will believe the same stuff. So that was for me what we wanted to get out of this. It's not just networking; it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, Jason and I've talked ahead of this recording about our experiences locally networking, and I think a lot of the communities that we've dipped in and very quickly dipped out of have not had that genuine kind of deliberate focus on community. They have been random people thrown together in a room. Oh, you run a business and live in Plymouth? Come to our networking event. Like, okay, I run a FTSE 350 company and you run a coffee shop. It's completely random. And one of the things I really like, there's a couple of things that really stood out to me that really, really resonate with us, because obviously the 1% Club is also very, very keen on vision and values and a proper community. You've used the word genuine there. That is a word that keeps coming up again and again when we speak to our most successful 1%ers. Why do they love the community that we've built? We hear the word genuine. I think what was the line that Dav used the other day, Jason, in one of our coaching calls about the lack of hard-nosed arseholes, I believe was. There's no Machiavellian BS going on in the group. It's genuine people. And I think that comes, Nikki, from something you said just now, which is when you first designed the growth community, you decided what the vision and values were going to be. And it was very easy to decide what the vision and values were, because they're your values and your vision. And that's so easy to be genuine when they are your values. You probably see other networking groups, other businesses decide what values they're going to choose to have. I wrote about this in the false exit. It's so much easier if you just say, these are the values I have. Do you share these values? If you do, this is the place for you. If you don't, you probably need to find somewhere else that shares your values.
And I think that's another really important thing about networking, is that the networking industry has grown up as being this place where you go along and decide if you're going to join something. You don't go, there's a very few places apart from the very social networking where you just go to network. And like you say, sometimes those events can be bit random and there's no real purpose to them, and there isn't really any purpose to a social networking. You just go and you bump into some people and you might make some connections that open up some new opportunities somewhere, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the important thing is to make sure that you leave, if you've just worked a room of 100 people, that you leave with a couple of people in mind that you're going to contact and say, hey, do you fancy just having a conversation? It'd be really nice to get to know you better. Going back to that know, like, trust thing. People forget that we buy from people. They forget about the human in the process, and they're so busy talking about, this is my business, this is your business, how can we work together? And instead what they need to do is actually get to know and like somebody if they're going to actually work with them, or they want to refer them. I'm not going to refer anyone that doesn't meet my doesn't meet my credentials. If they're not reliable and they're not credible, and I don't 100% believe that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, I'm not going to refer them. I will make introductions for people. I'll do that day and night, no problem. But I have a reputation, and so therefore I'm not just going to chuck it away by saying, hey, work with this guy, it's great, I met him over a sandwich, so it's not about that. And I think as well is what I wanted to do at the growth community was I wanted to get away from this, come along, see if you want to join thing, because actually if you're going to be really strict on what your community is about, and you're going to be really strict on what your values and your vision and all that stuff is, you don't want to sell to everybody who walks through the door. What you want to do is nail down your meeting to in a way that is friendly and welcoming and invites people in to network with you in a purposeful way, i.e., get to meet some people, set up some conversations, say thank you for the things that people do for you, and show off all that great stuff that you want to be seen as your shop front of your business, and go away and have some conversations without anyone coming to you and wafting a membership form in your face and saying it's a no-brainer, come on, join. The amount of time that's happened to me is ridiculous. The reality is, if what I do is I allow people to come 6 times a year as a guest. There's never any pressure on them. They are only ever invited as a guest, and they are invited to be part of our meeting in the same way that everybody else is. That way, if they are the right kind of person, it will resonate with them. They will sit there and think, I like this. I like seeing these people help each other. I like the way they work. I feel like this is my tribe. I want to be part of it. And they select themselves. I don't need to go out and sell to them. Yeah, there might be some conversations to be had, but I don't need to sell to them, because they will select themselves. They will choose to be part because they will resonate with what's going on around them. And I think the networking industry needs to kind of wake up to this a little bit, because it has just become a place where if I say to you, hey, John, do you fancy coming to my networking group next week? And you sit there and think, oh God, what's going to happen to me when I get there? And that's a really sad state of affairs, quite frankly.
Have you seen my face every time I get an invitation to a network?
But you're not alone. That's the point. The point is, I'm having to train my members to invite people in a specific way to try and get around this problem we've got in the networking industry, because actually people are afraid to come because they know they're going to get sold to. And that's a pretty sad state of affairs, quite frankly. We shouldn't be doing that to people. People should choose where they want to be. They have free will. They can choose where they want to be. They might choose to be in a couple of different groups, and that's a good thing too. It's not for me to decide who should be in my group, because if they don't resonate with what we do, they're not the right people for the growth community, and that's it.
Can we talk about the 10 a.m. start? Because I have mentioned, when I've voiced my objections to all the breakfast meetups, hey, do you want to come to a Future Inn at 6:30 a.m. and have a cold bacon sandwich? No, thanks. No, thanks. Can I go somewhere like really nice and have like a pain au chocolat or an almond croissant at 10 a.m.? That's a bit more like it. No. People don't want that. I've been told that again and again. No, people don't want that. They want to go to the networking event before they start their day's work. How have you made 10 a.m. work?
So there is obviously a demographic of people who, depending on what they do, they find doing breakfast networking works for them because it's before their day. They can cram it in before they dash off to work again. And lots of people really like that. When I started my first meeting, I was a mum. I've got 2 daughters. My husband used to work away a lot, and I used to get very frustrated that all the structured networking was only happening at breakfast. In fact, if anything else, I felt quite discriminated against, because there was nowhere for me to go apart from the coffee thing or, mum's net or something. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something that was professional. I didn't want to take my kids and go and have coffee. That's a play group, and I didn't want to do that. So I wanted something that felt professional. So I thought, well, I'll give it a crack. I'll start a meeting at 10 a.m. Because there were meetings around and about where there was 10 a.m.s, but there was nothing where I was at 10 a.m. that was structured. So I thought, well, I'll give it a crack, and I did. And it turns out there's an awful lot of people who like 10 a.m. There's lots of people who love to drop their kids off at school, come over, grab a coffee, chat to some people, have a structured meeting that actually is purposeful, and then they can go about their day. I do actually have a couple of evening meetings as well. So one of those is done online, and one of them is a face-to-face. And they actually work really beautifully for a lot of people. If you're not bothered about doing something after work, they can work really well, because you can, down tools, head over, grab a drink, chat to people, do your purposeful meeting, and then you're not kind of dashing back to work. So, it's quite relaxed as well. So I think structured networking can work at any time of day, but it's got to be right for you. If it's not right for you, it's never going to work. You're not going to stick to it. And like anything that in marketing, if you're not doing something consistently and frequently, it isn't going to pay off for you. So if you can't commit to it, there's no point doing it, because it's going to be a waste of time.
Yeah, you've mentioned purpose a lot, as part of the core values of your group, really. And I speak to lots of 1%ers on one-to-ones and coming into our world, and purpose is the thing that I think that means different things to different people, but it also sometimes really hard to define for themselves. So I was just wondering, when you say purpose, what does that purposeful mean in your world?
Well, I think networking, there's two different types of networking. There's your kind of structured networking and your kind of social or open networking. And I think you need a bit of both, if I'm honest. I think the really important thing about networking is to see it for what it is. It's a marketing activity. It's not a sales activity, which is where a lot of people fall down. A lot of people think they're going out to sell some stuff. They don't sell anything. They get frustrated. They say it doesn't work and they pack it in. If you see it as a marketing activity, then you understand that it's a process. It's got to be done routinely. It has to be frequent and consistent, and you have to be able to see it like a marketing activity. With any marketing activity, you would research it, plan it, you would implement it, you would test it, and you would check to see if it's actually giving you something. People don't do that with networking. They just wander about and don't have any kind of goals around it. They don't think about what the outcome is for the networking. And actually, you do need to see networking in exactly the same way as you do with your social media and your PR and whatever else you're doing, because it requires time, money, and energy. So if you're doing all those things, there has to be something that comes out the end of it. So for me, there's two elements to this. So first of all, you need to be clear, or you need to choose to do a couple of things reliably. So that might be one structured, one open networking. You need to see the same people regularly. That's another thing in networking. People think, well, I don't want to go and see the same people all the time. Well, because you need to build relationships with them. If you just see random new people all the time, you're not doing anything. You're just bumping into people, and you get those people who have to hand their business cards out to everybody, when actually what they should be doing is going out and talking to people and asking them for their business card and finding out about them, rather than just telling people about themselves. So I think you've got to find some groups that actually really work for you, because then you're building some friendships, and those friendships are going to help you help you actually achieve what you want to do. The other thing for me was every third fortnight, we take the guests out, and we only meet as members. And that member meeting is the way that I can control a little bit of that kind of accountability, put some measurability in there without setting people targets or pressuring people or having leaderboards or spreadsheets or whatever it is, targeting the wrong things. How many referrals have you made? How many guests have you invited? It's just a metric. And how much money has this group turned over? Well, yeah, someone might have done a £2 million deal with somebody. This group's turned over £2 million. Well, actually, it's just one deal. It doesn't really tell you anything. It's not real. So I don't do any of that. But what I do is encourage my members to be clear on why they're here. I ask them to constantly stop every 6 weeks and say, why am I here? What do I need to get out of this? And they spend that meeting telling each other why they're here, what they need help with, what's next on the agenda for them. And that encourages the people in the group to take some actions away for each other. It also means that little bit of accountability in there, that we know we've got to do something over the next 6 weeks to help each other achieve those things. It encourages them to set some goals and have some purpose to their networking. But what it also does is provides a safe place. So businesses is crap most of the time. It's hard, it's tough, and people really struggle with it. So if you've got a place every 6 weeks, you can go and say, I'm having a really hard time, or I'm struggling with this marketing project, or my sales are really down, I don't know what to do, or there's just not enough coming in, or I'm just really struggling. They've got a group of people around them that can help them and say, hey, I know what it feels like. I can help you. Let me introduce this person. Let's have a coffee, whatever it is. So what you've got is a whole load of stuff. You've got, you've got networking, you've got support, you've got marketing support, you've got almost like a mastermind in there, but you've just got everything that a business needs to survive, quite frankly, because it isn't just about referrals, because, business is tough. You need people around you who get what's going on with you, because your family doesn't. Most of the time, you need people that can help you, and that's it, really.
You've got a community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, in a nutshell, isn't it? I love the fact that you said it's marketing and not sales. Now that's just shrunk to my kind of normal conversation, because I have conversations with one-to-one in my one-to-ones kind of thing with our members and things. It's like, should I do networking? It's like, okay, let's strip this back. Market message media. Who's the market you want to talk to? Are they going to be there? The media is the last option, isn't it? So actually, media is a networking thing. Then actually, let's work out what that is. And I think that sales isn't what it is. Marketing is what it is. It's perfect. And then with that purpose, that's your message, isn't it? So yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And remembering that support is important, because business is very hard work. You've got to be slightly mad to want to be a business owner. Your family look at you and go, why are you doing this to yourself? Go and get a job. And they mean it because they care about you, but you're unemployable, so you can't go and get a job. So what you actually need is some people who are your business friends, who can actually say to them, okay, look, if you're not staring longingly at someone stuck in the shelves in Sainsbury's at least once a month, you're not doing it right. We all do that. We all feel like that. So what we need is someone to just go, right, come on, pull yourself together. What do we need to do to move on to the next bit? Because we've all been there. We all get it. So networking is way more than just referrals, which I think is what the networking industry has grown up as. How many referrals have we passed? You do need referrals. You do need more business. Of course, that's why you walk through the door. But actually, networking provides so much more than that. And the amount of people in my organization who've actually had enormous personal development from it is one of the things that I always feel so proud of. My latest case study that I've just done, Hannah, she was struggling with imposter syndrome. She was really struggling. She really struggled to walk through the door of a networking. And 3.5 years on, she's so confident. She's one of my founder members. She's she's come on so much in her business. She's found a business partner for another sideline business. She's built her business massively in that time, and she's happy running the meeting. She's happy doing whatever, and those sorts of things is what people sometimes overlook, I think, but actually personal development is a massive part of it.
We always say, if you want to grow the business, you've got to grow the business owner. And yes, it's key to see that with Hannah's example there, over those 3.5 years, you've not just helped her grow her business. She's part of a growth community that, yes, she wants to grow a business, but more than anything, she's grown herself. She's grown her confidence.
Exactly.
She always had that ability probably in there, but she's actually focused on herself as a business owner first. Again, everything you said about, looking enviously at the guys stacking the shelves at Sainsbury's, you lucky buggers. You get to just go home at night, shut the door and leave work at work. You've no idea what it's like to be a business owner. Jace, how many stories have we had in the 1% Club? I'm going to go and work at Dunelm. B&Q is calling.
Yes.
But in a lot of networking groups, you don't get that, because you've got to present this image of everything's brilliant, everything's wonderful. I'm a really successful business owner. I work with these blue chip clients. I'm making a ton of money. You guys need to work with me because I'm brilliant. A story I've told a few times, I think even on this podcast, Clark Duncan, previous guest on the show. I've known Clark for 20 odd years. And in the aftermath of the global financial crisis in 2008, I attended a conference, met up with Clark, and literally the first conversation we had, he walked up to me, "Hello, John, how's it going?" And I went, oh, yeah, brilliant, mate. Everything's great. And he went, you liar. You absolute liar. He said, everything's shite. We're in the toilet. We're all screwed. I went, yeah, you're right. And he was like, yeah, just be honest, And that is that expectation that you put on the face and go, everything's brilliant. It's like a genuine community is somewhere. And I know, Jace, we probably need to eke this out of new 1%ers that you can be honest here. You can be genuine. If you are struggling with your mental health, you can put your hand up and tell us. If you've lost a big client or you're worried that you're going to lose a big client, you can tell us. If you just feel like packing it up and going to work at B&Q, you can tell us. Some days we'll talk you down from the ledge, and some days we'll tell you to go get a job at Costa, which I have done in the last couple of months.
Yeah, I have. I'm exactly the same. I have those conversations with people. I've actually had a member that I've sat down and said, I think you need a job. I just don't think this is for you. I don't think you're a business owner. I think you need a job. And other people, they've come to me and said, right, I started this business, and you go, oh God, really? Have you stopped your work and everything? And they go, yeah. And you're like, oh, maybe you do need a job in Sainsbury's. Can you do it in the evening while you do the business in the day? And they're like, could do. Why would I do that? And I'm like, because it's going to take a bit more than a couple of weeks for you to see anything from this. And it's going to be hard. So, you don't have that wolf growling at the door. It's the worst place because it makes you make the wrong decisions. You take on clients that you would never dream of taking on because you're desperate for money. And then you end up with this bunch of clients that you absolutely despise. You hate your job. You hate what you do because you've got nothing good going on because all you're doing is trying to make money. And that's not a good place to start a business from. And, we've all been there. We've all taken on clients that we thought, oh God, why did I do that? But it's a lot easier to not take those clients on if there's at least the mortgage is being paid and there's food on the table. So yeah, you're right. Business is hard, but being able to be in a place where you can be really honest about things and have the support of the people around you, and realizing that actually, despite what social media says, most people are not smashing it. They are, they might, but also having a place where when you are smashing it and you've just had a really great success or you've signed a new client, you've got a bunch of people to celebrate with, because let's be honest, business owners are also really crap at doing that. We just literally go, right, new client, moving on, instead of going, new client, this is great, look, I moved my business on, let's celebrate this, it's great, let's take 5 minutes to actually tick something off that list and go, I did that. But we don't, we're rubbish to ourselves in business. We don't take care of ourselves and we don't take the time to celebrate. So actually having people around you that get that, if you go home and tell your husband, they're like, oh, okay, that's good. Whereas, you go to someone in your group and they go, great, oh my God, you got that client, amazing. They know how that feels. So I think that sense of community, it is just vastly more than people realize what networking should be about. Networking is such a broad term. It isn't just selling stuff to people in a room.
I think Jace hit the nail on the head, or you might have hit the nail on the head earlier. It's marketing, it's not sales. And I saw Jason's face and I had a little chuckle when you mentioned about the guy like just littering business cards. And I just remember being at this event and it was like a proper after works drinks social thing. And this guy, we'd all been there for about an hour, and this guy just walked in the room handing out this to everyone and then walked out. He was in there about 4 minutes and everyone just went absolutely no like trust whatsoever, but he treated it as a sales event.
Yeah. One of my members actually told me the other day that they were at a networking event and they had left, and someone actually chased her out to the car park to give them his business card.
You haven't had my card yet. Wait.
Yeah, but it happens, because their mentality is that they're coming at it from a sales perspective, and that's everybody starts there. Let's be honest. We all went to our first networking and thought, right, off to sell some stuff. You do learn quickly that it's not that, but it's for us to kind of educate people and say, look, actually, why don't you go into this room of 100 people, have a conversation with sort of 3 or 4 people and choose 1 or 2 of them to just have an actual human to human conversation with after this event and just see where it goes, because actually it's always amazing where it does go. It's amazing who knows who. It can be something as simple as we have a chat. I tell you something about what I'm trying to do. You say, actually, do you know what? I go to a networking event on a Thursday, and there's some people who do that there. Do you fancy coming along? Yeah, I'd quite like to do that. Or how about I introduce you to this guy I know? There's something, you and him might just have a nice conversation. Or, it can just be the really simple little things like following each other on social media, but you have started something and not just bumped into someone and given them your business card, because let's be honest, nothing's going to happen with that. You're just going to run out of business cards quicker.
Yeah. It's the real life equivalent of just connect and pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God. And you get so many of those on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn's another thing. LinkedIn for me is just big networking in the sky. So you have to treat it the same way. It isn't like a social media channel, like in the traditional sense. It is big networking in the sky. And you do need to, if you do connect with somebody, and it's not possible with everybody, but it is nice to actually just have a half conversation with someone, at least to start off, and see if there's something to be done there. Because it isn't just, going up and going, hi, I'm Nikki, shall we connect? Yeah. You wouldn't do that in a room.
Hi, could you handle more leads?
Yeah.
Would you like to generate 10 to 15 inbound inquiries per week? God, no, go away.
I love the ones that because technically in the directories I'm under as under the marketing kind of directory, if you know what I mean. The amount of ones I get is, your marketing agency, we can turn it into such as, I haven't got a marketing agency. They don't even look at what I do. Do you know what I mean? And I just, but there's always going to be lots of those out there. It's a numbers game to them. If they hit enough people, they'll get some business, and that's all they care about. But for those of us who are looking for much more of a sustainable model for our business, then networking is perfect for that, because once you turn on that tap and the tap is running well and it's that relationship is nurtured and there's constant regular consistent conversation going on, that tap will never turn off, because something will have happened. I had a member come to me about a year or so ago. Hadn't seen him for about 7 years, but he'd been following me and he knew what I was doing, and he literally came to me and said, right, Nikki, I need to join one of your groups. Which one is it? Because he knew me, we'd built a relationship. We may not have spoken to each other for several years, but he'd seen me on LinkedIn and he'd seen me around and he'd seen what was going on with my groups. So when he was ready, he knew he was going to come to me. So the reality is, these relationships that you're building, if you do it right and you get the foundations right, they will last forever. They'll just keep popping back up again, years later. The work has been done. So, just taking that little bit more time and remembering that, in networking, it's human to human. It's not business to business. It is human to human. And actually what I find, as part of our meeting, we have a 10-minute showcase, and I encourage the members to talk about how they help their customers, not to give me a pitch on what they do, but to talk about how they help their customers. And we encourage them to do something like a customer journey, so that we understand how they work. So it makes it easier to build that credibility quicker, and we get a feel for what's going on under the bonnet of their business. But at the beginning, I always say, don't skimp on the telling us about you. Because quite often when people want to have a conversation with you, because that's part of the meeting as well, we ask people to set up one-to-ones and before they leave, it'll be because you said that you like cat videos, or that you've climbed Kilimanjaro or something. It'll be that someone will go, I need to talk to you. I love cat videos too. Or I'm really into, I'm really into climbing. I climbed up this mountain. Let's have a coffee. It'll be that where you'll connect as humans, not because you sit there and go, oh, well, you're a marketing agency, I need to talk to you. That's a sales conversation.
Yeah.
And it may turn into a sales conversation, but initially it's not. It is about humans connecting, the know-like bit. That you need to do that if you're going to get to the trust bit, because your trust is where you're building the credibility and showing up that you do what you say you're going to do. And a lot of that is seeing someone in your networking meeting regularly, because actually a lot of the trust stuff happens in the group. Yep. The knowing and liking stuff happens outside of the group. That's should we car share to that expo and have a chat next week? Or, should we meet up and have coffee and cake? Or should we go to that networking together? It's all that non-contrived stuff that you need to do to build a relationship with somebody.
Definitely. Nikki, you joined the 1% Club about 18 months ago.
I did.
And kind of teased this in the introduction. So you grew your business by 75% last year. That's got to be a great thing, isn't it? Can we do that every year? Can we just compound this 75% growth? And within kind of 5 years, you're the leading networking group in the country? Is that the plan?
No.
Why not? Everybody wants 75% growth, don't they?
The 75% growth was brilliant. I mean, the growth community was founded it was founded at the beginning of lockdown. I mean, the idea kind of evolved through the first sort of 6 months of lockdown. And the goalposts moved all over the place for, the first couple of years, quite frankly. We were online, we were offline, we were kind of half. No, who wanted to be? Did you want to be in the room? Did I worry about people getting sick? So actually there was an awful lot of moving around. I really struggled to try and get the business to work, and I'd come across the 1% Club from having read Big Ideas, and I kept circling it, thinking I really want to do that, but I have no money because I had no money for so long because I'd had to start this business from scratch, having been not paid by franchise prior to that. So and I was trying to keep my kids in school, and there was all kinds of things going on. And my husband had given me this ultimatum: you must have this amount of money going into the bank account by this date, or you have to get a job. And I was like, oh God. And I stared at what I was doing and thought, I can't really afford to join the 1% Club, really. But I really need to do something that is like very deliberate right now. Otherwise, I'm not going to do that. So with a combination of actually being honest with my community and sitting down with my members and saying, look, guys, I have to hit this membership target by this day, or we're not here anymore because Dan's going to shut us down. And with the combination of working with you guys to just help me really focus down what I actually wanted from this, made a massive difference. The focus just came together, and the business grew. And there was an awful lot of things that went into that, but actually just making sure I did 90-day plans before, but I think for me the 1% gain thing resonated so much, and that planner was the game changer for me. Absolute game changer for me. Sitting down and taking my 90-day plan into a weekly and daily activity was what changed it for me. I did 90-day plans before and I kind of hit them. It was a bit hit and miss, but I wasn't looking at them enough. So using that planner where I'd sit down and I would plan in every month, every quarter, every day, every week, what I was doing, and always going back to that 90-day plan and staring at where I was trying to get to and what I needed to make as my one thing for the week and my one thing for the day. That's the thing that changed everything, because I was much more focused on where I was going. I knew what I needed to achieve and I knew exactly what steps I needed to take to get there. So I think for me, the planner was the big game changer. But I've loved being part of the community. I've learned a lot from the people around me. I've learned a lot from watching the masterclasses. If there's something I've wanted to do, like I started an email marketing nurture campaign, which I was completely against. I was not going to do. I thought, why the hell does anyone want to hear from me every week? I was so against doing it. And I watched that masterclass and I thought, maybe we could give this a crack. And I learned how to do it, and I've still used that system now. And people reply to it. I just find that really amazing.
The community talks to you when you ask them questions.
I know. And so that was a massive game changer for me. And there's just been so many things that you soak up by osmosis, by just being around people who are doing what you want to ultimately do. Everyone in the club's at different stages of the journey, and it's really important to never compare your page 1 with someone's page 500, but actually being able to soak up someone's page 500 is so powerful, because while you're not there yet, you can see that someone has got there and that this is entirely possible. So 75% growth, amazing, but exhausting. And actually one of the things I think, and actually this is something that kind of came into my head this week, actually. The reason it's been so hard is that I went from having a membership of people who were quite close to me, they're friends, I guess, a lot of these people, to having customers. And customers don't treat me the same way as my friends do. And when they talk to you differently. And I take things very personally. So I want everybody to get the best out of it. And if I think they're not, I take it very personally. And having, 140 people talking at me all at once was not necessarily a good thing. it was great. I was like, yeah, I got 140 people, but actually 140 people talking at you in one is not good. And it really does have a massive effect on your health and your well-being and everything else, until you can stop and go, okay, we need to put some processes in place to protect me from all of this, which is what I've been doing for the last few months. So yeah, you're right. Double-edged sword. Amazing. Don't want to be UK wide. I love what I do. I don't want to stretch myself too far, and I don't want to be this big monstrous business. I want to be happy, and I want to continue doing what I'm doing. So yeah, I guess that's it really.
Was there a moment or a trigger where it felt, hang on, this is becoming a beast. This is getting a little bit out of control here. I need to tame this beast.
Yeah. So where are we? So last October, I was really struggling. I was really tired. I was just struggling with everything. Everything felt hard. And I wasn't very well. My health was really, really suffering. I was getting palpitations and all kinds of things going on, and I was really starting to get quite scared. So I took my foot off the gas a little bit, had a really good rest over Christmas, but then I hit the ground running massively in January. We had our annual awards. I had all kinds of things going on, and I just powered through. And in April, I literally fell off a cliff. Literally, my brain just went no, and I couldn't cope with anything. I felt overwhelmed by the tiniest thing. If I'd spilt the milk while I was trying to make some tea, it was like the end of the world. Everything felt enormous around me, and I wasn't very well. I had some more health problems kicking off. I just was not coping with anything, and the doctor basically said, enough, 2 weeks complete rest, otherwise you won't be here. So the great thing was, because I'd had that scare in October, I had started to put things in place. So in April, I walked away. I switched my laptop off. I switched my phone off. I walked away completely for 2 weeks, and my business survived perfectly well without me. My admin team took care of everything. My group leaders took care of everything. And apart from one tiny little blip that happened in week 2 for about half an hour that I had to deal with, I literally walked away for 2 weeks and allowed myself actual proper self-care. And then, slowly I've come back. I've taken some time over the summer, allowed myself, I'm nowhere near where I need to be. But I have processes now. I have backup. My business can run without me. And that's been the biggest thing I could ever have done. Otherwise I wouldn't have the growth community now. Burnout is I don't think people realize how significant burnout is. It affects everything, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. And unless you've got that support network around you, your business is going to fail. And thankfully mine didn't. It's still growing. So
did you build a community?
Exactly. My community came around me. And while I wasn't completely straight up with them all immediately about what was going on, I have gradually told my community what's going on, and they have been really supportive and wanted to help where they could. And my group leaders do an amazing job of running my meetings, and we have a quarterly powwow now, so we make sure that we're all on the same page. We share ideas, and they go away really motivated, and we make sure that the groups are running as uniformly as possible. I don't want them to be uniform. I want them to have their own personality, which they all do. As long as they're following the growth community ethos, we're good. I think growth from now on needs to be a little more structured, not quite as intense. We don't need to. We can grow in the right way. And in fact, actually, I've just consolidated quite a few bits because there's a few groups that I didn't feel like had the energy in them. So I've either mothballed them or merged them. And actually, I've got less groups now than I did have a few months ago. But I have opportunities to grow new groups which feel more energetic. So I think you've got to be strong enough to actually work out when something isn't working and put it right, rather than just go, oh, it'll be all right, keep working at it. It's important. I think
reduce that workload a little and make a better product at the end of it.
Yeah, give you a bit more
members and for yourself, really, which is really important. I love the fact that we needed to double down on the processes and stuff and getting the extra help in as well, which enabled you to have the time off in the summer, which again was a walk away moment for you, really, in terms of your business, wasn't it?
Massively.
Actually, that wasn't that wasn't something that you'd even thought about when we first got together, kind of 18 months ago. It's like, no, I mean, I'm stuck, and you couldn't do anything that first year, but it was really great to see that you managed to take that time off in the summer.
And to be honest, when you said to me 3 days, I kept laughing at you and going, I'm not going to do that. And actually I did do that. And that was a 90-day plan thing. It was on the plan. It's amazing what you can actually do when you're focused. You're really focused on what it is you're going to do, and having those small incremental gains. Suddenly you find that you're doing it and you didn't even notice.
So our last question we always ask our guests, are we there, John?
Go for it. Yeah.
So what does an ambitious lifestyle business mean to you? And
well, I think
we've edged on that already, so that's cool.
Yeah. So I think I suppose it had been something in my head, but it's not until I read the big ideas for small business that it kind of properly resonated that actually was a thing. I'm not the sort of person who I don't want to be Alan Sugar or, anyone like that. For me, my most important thing is I want to be a mum. That's my primary thing. I'm a mum. I have 2 daughters who are very talented, and I love spending time with them and giving them all the opportunities that they've got. The business for me, it's part of my own personal fulfillment. I need to have something that makes me feel like I can use my skills and learn and grow myself, because if I'm going to be a role model to my children, I've got to be showing them all the things that I want them to do. So business for me is it's a personal development thing, and I love how for me the most amazing thing for me is seeing businesses connect and support each other. So an ambitious lifestyle business for me is a business that it allows me to be ambitious. It allows me to grow personally and commercially, but without killing myself, so that I can actually become. I don't have to be in the business all the time. There's loads of things I would like to do personally. I want to volunteer more. There's things I want to give back. If I can run a business that allows me to do that and earn some money and be a role model to my kids, then actually that is the perfect example of business for me. It doesn't need to be 24/7, work all the hours, have a big, massive office. I don't want any of that stuff. I want a business that gives me the money to be able to do the things that I want to do in life. So I'm not sitting there going, oh, I can't afford to go out for dinner this week. I don't want that. I want to be able to have enough money to be able to do what I want to do, and to be able to enjoy my family, and be able to give back to whatever projects there are out there that I can give my skills to. So, yeah, I suppose that's what it means to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, we often talk about the kind of pendulum with ambition one end, lifestyle at the other. And I think you've seen those swings in terms of ambition, right? 75% growth, powering through. Let's just launch another group. And then lifestyle is shouting at you saying, hello, your health's failing. We need to talk about this. We need some time off. That drags you back down the other end. And the answer is deliberate, strategic growth. It's fine to have ambition, but your ambition needs to fit your strategy. And I'm particularly talking to listeners here who obviously will have different aims. They will have answered that question, hopefully by leaving us a nice review wherever they listen to this podcast, by telling us what an ambitious lifestyle business means to them, because it is unique to you, dear listener. But do be ambitious about it. Do believe, like you said, about the 3-day week. Is that possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it easy? No, it bloody isn't. Are you going to have a lot of hard work to get there? Yes, you are.
and it comes back to routines. I am so anti-routine. Routine is like this abhorrent thing to me. It's almost like I have this inbuilt thing that says once we've been doing something for 2 weeks, I have to not do it. And I find routine very, very difficult. But if you do get your routines right, you can do this completely, but you do need them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fight it or not fight it, you do need them if you're going to get this right, and you can do it. But it is just, ambition can be very enticing. You can look at someone and think, oh, look at all the things they're doing, and you think, oh, I could just grow some more stuff, and then you get there and you think, I'm not actually enjoying this anymore. this isn't for me. Some other people might be enjoying it. They like the kill, they like, but actually, you've got to be honest with yourself. Do you actually enjoy doing it? And if you don't, then just don't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not worth it.
One of the best things I heard recently, I think it was Stephen Bartlett, who said it's perfectly fine to admire someone without wanting to aspire to be them. It's perfectly good to say, oh, look at that guy. He's just made 5 million quid. Well done, him. Without thinking, I need 5 million quid. Why haven't I got 5 million quid? Perhaps I need to work harder. Perhaps I should just power through. There we go. Thank you ever so much for joining us, Nikki. If our listeners are interested in finding a growth community meeting, where will they find one near them?
Well, the best thing to do is go and have a look at the website, which is thegrowthcommunity.co.uk. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm quite noisy on there, so come and connect with me on there. But yeah, just come along, have a look at the locations, and pop in if you'd like to. You'll be made very welcome. It's very friendly, and if people in other parts of the country would like to talk about a networking group, then if the right person and the right team is around there, then the growth community go somewhere else.
Thank you very much for joining us, Nikki. Thank you, dear listener, for listening. We will see you again next month.
So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.